another banger.
The NPP is about to leave office for the NDC, headed by John Mahama. And things are really getting hard. They're frying so many things, NDC especially, frying so many things. And one of the major policies, the campaign promises that NDC actually platformed was Operation Recover All Loot. Now, this Operation Recover All Loot actually is headed by a group of young men and elderly men. Honorable Ablako is there. Mr. Domolovo is there. Mr. Boachi is there. And Mr. Archer is there. And your own or our own favorite, Mr. Martin Kwebu. Now, what is the responsibility of this Operation Recover All Loot? This unit or this team is going to be responsible for retrieving stolen state assets by the NPP government. Now, a lot of things happen within this regime, and they are tasked to make sure they recover this. And I want you just to listen to the stolen lands, the amount of money involved. I mean, it's mind-blowing. Now, here is a video of Honorable Ablako actually, exposing all the loot, the ones he has access to. Just watch this video.
Well, thank you very much, Samson. So, ORAL, as we all know, stands for Operation Recover All Loot. And this is a major plank in President Mahama's anti-corruption agenda. You recall that during the campaign across the length and breadth of this country, he assured the Ghanaian people that the litany of scandals, and everybody knows that this has been the most scandal-riddled government ever in the history of our country. So he announced a raft of measures that he would take to deal with the canker of corruption. Oral is only one of it. He has talked about constitutional reforms to make sure that Parliament is empowered so that this fusion, this hybrid is addressed once and for all. He has also talked about passing the code of conduct, bill so that public officials can adhere to strict code of conduct. And then he says that within the first 120 days, he's going to ban politicians or his appointees from having the opportunity to purchase state assets, as has been one of the characteristics of the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia era. So
you started to run a private member bill on that.
Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, because of the gridlock in Parliament, we couldn't have it passed. So ORAL will investigate corruption cases. It will recover the misappropriated state resources, and then the offenders will be prosecuted. That is when it is fully operational. But at this point in transition, what the president-elect has done is to have a preparatory team. And the press statement signed by the Honorable Felix Kwachiofosu is very clear. I've heard many people say, are they not usurping existing institutions' mandate? What is their legal, mandate and all of that? We want to make it clear.
Legitimate questions.
Legitimate questions. And we are glad that those questions are coming up. So it's just a preparatory framework. The president-elect does not want Ghanaians to think that all of this oral campaign was just campaign talk, political talk, and that having won, he's forgotten about it. He wants to show the Ghanaian people that he is hitting the ground running and that he's committed to his anti-corruption drive. So it's just a preparatory transitional process where we are just serving as an evidence-gathering team. So we are just a conveyor belt. We will hand over to an Attorney General when he has been appointed and approved by Parliament. So we want to make that very clear. We are not going to investigate. We are not going to prosecute. We don't have that legal mandate. So it's just to make... And you see, what this does is that apart from showing the Ghanaian people that the president is committed to this anti-corruption drive, it also helps to address the impunity. Remember that when there are these transitions, some people become emboldened, they want to target certain individuals, certain assets, they want to take it back. But when you have this formalized process, And the president-elect explained that even he was receiving a lot of calls, a lot of messages. Once you have this formalized process, you go there, send your evidence there, and we have announced our interactive platforms. We've told the general public, you can reach us on 0800 900 111. That is the hotline, 0800 900 111. We also have a website, oralgh.org, or you can send an email. And the way it's been done, your identity will be protected. You don't have to worry about coming under threat because your cover has been blown. And the email is public@oralgh.org. And we announced this only yesterday.
Those who don't want to hide the identity. I saw that the Media Foundation for West Africa got you a dossier.
Yes, a whole dossier. And
of the
when you go through
service,
it, I mean, we were shocked at what we saw. And now the basis for oral, the corruption perception index, and I'm glad that the grandmother of that is here herself, Auntie Mary. We have stagnated. Akufo-Addo's best performance is President Mahama's worst performance, and GII and civil society, anti-corruption crusaders have been worried about our performance. Then you look at the Auditor General's reports year after year. Last year, the Auditor General discovered that this country lost over 8.8 billion Ghana cedis. And the Auditor General made a profound statement. He said that a lot of the funds were recoverable. And that is why Dom Leveau was doing surcharging, disallowances, and all of that. But that has stopped more or less since Dom Leveau was handed out. And so the Auditor General appointed by this president is saying that a lot of the 8.8 billion could be recovered. And that is what oral is about, that we can recover those...
Occupy Ghana audited 5 years of the Auditor General's report and found that money that was lost or stolen or misused was more than up to about 3 times what we have gone to the IMF to borrow.
And I'm not surprised at all. Indeed, conservative estimates put it at about $3 billion every year, the losses to corruption. Okay. So I'll quickly go through some of the matters that have engaged the nation's attention and agitated minds. The 25 billion banking sector cleanup. I mean, this is one area. Look at the sums involved, 25 billion. We in Parliament are not impressed with the accounting, with the breakdown, with the transparency about it, because we have been told by other experts that it should not have cost us more than 12.7 billion. So where did the money go, particularly when we still have people up to now who have not received their full monies that they had stored in the bank? So that's one area that, the Ghanaian people are expecting that we work on. The luxurious presidential private jet travels. When we have a presidential jet, 20,000 euros an hour, that is a matter. As we speak now, we do not know how these jets were procured, who were the middlemen, and all of that. And we've lost over 100 million cedis on this sky-bath, travels. We are concerned about that. The $58 million National Cathedral hole. I mean, as for the National Cathedral matter, you think about it, and you don't know, what all of this madness is about. Over 339 million Ghana cedis. And as Bishop Dakeward Mills said in his resignation letter, he has built magnificent churches for far less. And he could not understand why, at the time he was resigning, $30 million had been spent, and all he saw was a pit. And that's why, after that, you've seen Reverend Isudanaba, Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, Pastor Otabil, they have all resigned. We now have a Shraj report which says that whole project is illegal. They didn't follow the procurement laws, and that retrievals have to be made. Kari Summers is a chap in America who is keeping at $6 million. He was giving that money to go raise funds, which is against the industry practice. He should have just been given a commission after raising the funds. Then the inflationary pricing, the extortionist pricing with David Ajayi. Suddenly, under this government, David Ajayi became the sole architect extraordinaire. He had all the projects from Marine Drive, Trade Fair, National Cathedral, the Parliament, the new chamber project, everything, Du Bois Center, everything. And the way he is procured under emergency circumstances, sometimes without recourse to the Procurement Act. So these are people who we will be interested in. Then the National Cathedral Secretariat continues to receive salaries. So far, three of their top secretarial officials have received about 2.2 million Ghana cedis with no work being done. So these are areas that we are concerned about. Then there's a $108 million ambulance scandal. You remember the presidential daughter's business partners. Ken Ofori-Attah's last action before he left the ministry was to authorize the release of $10 million. We have the letter attached in this presentation. We went to the OSP. Unfortunately, the OSP has not concluded work on this. We are concerned that the $34.9 million for just ambulances, which is more than the cost of the ambulance, could be paid if we do not, delve into these matters and retrieve, the funds. Remember that there's an Auditor General report that also indicts the companies involved in this, that due process was not followed. So we're interested in that. Then there's a $2.8 million Sputnik V vaccine, which you recall that some shonky sheikhs appeared from Dubai. The minister says he was not thinking straight because of the COVID pressures when he appeared before a parliamentary committee. But we haven't gotten our money back. We need that $2.8 million. It has to come back. That can do a lot. Then there's the 21.3 billion COVID expenditure. Remember the special audit. The Auditor General says that there's a lot of money as part of this 21.3 billion that we can recover if we go for it. Monies that ended up being diverted, being used for political campaigns and all of that in 2020. We are all conversant with the Auditor General's report, the Ministry of Information's role and all of that. Then the $130 million Frontiers COVID-19 airport testing saga. Benedict Peters and his gang. You recall that the health minister told Parliament that at the time the company was asked to go test, it didn't even have license from HEFRA. And they didn't follow the procurement laws, and yet they've made over $130 million. We did an RTI after much frustration, a great, ordeal it was. We secured the contract and discovered that it was such a one-sided contract. The $150 passengers were paying. Ghana was getting only $10 out of the $150. So a very unconscionable deal, and it's a matter that we believe that we can pursue further. Then there's the Bank of Ghana corporate office. We intercepted documents that it started at $81.8 million. That is what the board approved, both the BOG board and the PPA board. That's the approval they have. The letter is here dated 28 January 2020. Within 6 months, the project had escalated to $121 million. And then a few months thereafter, it became $222.7 million. Our procurement laws are very clear. With this wild variation, they should have re-tendered. They should have started afresh. They didn't do that. The Central Tender Review Committee raised queries against this project, and yet with impunity, they have continued. The president has gone to commission what is an uncompleted project, but we have lost over $222.7 million when the only approval they had was for $81.8 million. So those out there saying, oh, is this oral agenda not witch hunting? Can't you live it? No, we cannot live it. There are huge sums involved, and we have to retrieve those monies for national reconstruction. Then Pualugu Dam, Parliament is still aghast that $11.9 million was spent, and this is all you see when you go to the site. We've been asking questions. They haven't been able to tell us exactly what they did with the $11.9 million. Then there's the $250 million single source inflated road contracts awarded to Resource Access Limited, belonging to Vice President Baumia's brother. When you read and this is from an Auditor General's report. So all of these things we are talking about are not just concoctions or fabrications. There's an Auditor General report on cocoa rows, which reveals that 85% of cocoa rows awarded were single source. And what the Auditor General did was to compare the 85% single source awarded contracts with the 15% that were competitively done. And the Auditor General discovered that the single source projects were inflated 3 times. So we didn't have value for money, and it is really sad that the people who in opposition said that they were going to make sure the era of single sourcing ends, their family members came in and took total control. This is another matter that I'm passionate about. We spent 85 million Ghana cedis renovating, well, it was supposed to be used to renovate the Esipon, Tamale, and Accra sports stadia. We discovered that the work was not done, and we end the ban. CAF banned us, and we have now gone into
the contract was awarded
infamy.
to Akufo-Addo's cousin?
Awarded to Akufo-Addo's cousin, Kelvin Oforiatta, again single-sourced. And they don't get the job done. I mean, apart from the naked conflict of interest, they don't even do the job. And then it attracts a ban. Then there's the unconscionable $48 million 13th Africa Games operational expenses, which at the time, the exchange rate, it worked out to 602 million Ghana cedis. This was an expenditure in excess of appropriation. Parliament had approved only 100 million Ghana cedis, and yet over 600 million was spent. I remember that this is different from the $80 million spent on feeding, the over $3 million on accreditation cards and all of that. So that whole, All Africa Games, over $240 million, we need to really be concerned about it. There's a lot of retrievals that can happen there. Then there's the almighty $3 billion SML scam, which Manasseh did a great job on. The KPMG report has vindicated Manasseh, but there have been no retrievals. Despite all of those
contracts have been cancelled.
KPMG reports and all.
The president ordered the cancellation of contract, two of the contracts.
Yes, the contract has been cancelled, but a lot of payments, had gone on, which should not have happened. But should the people walk away with their monies? We take the view that shouldn't happen. Then there is the illegal printing that took place at the Bank of Ghana. Over 80 billion Ghana cedis, Ghanaians will recall. And the law is very clear. You cannot print in excess of 5% of the previous year's revenue. And this was a clear violation. The governor has explained that, hard times, he had to do that to save the economy. We don't know how this economy was saved. But follow the law, follow due process. So over 80 billion Ghana cedis, and nobody knows what that money was used for. Then there's the 95 million Ghana cedi West Blue matter as well. They managed to get a consent judgment, which they've saddled this country with.
Is this viewer going ahead of you? He's asking, how about PDS? That's bigger.
Yes, that's going to come up. It's going ahead of me. Then there's a $12 million Ejapa payoff. You remember, we all thought we had stopped it, civil society, the media, we all thought. Then we discovered that apparently they had gone to spend $12 million in London. We think that money ought to be retrieved. Then PDS, the viewer is spot on. So $190 million lost. Then there's also the 1 billion cedis that PDS says they collected, which they have not released. We need to be interested in that. They have to give us that money. Already ECG is collapsing. Their technical and commercial losses is in excess of 32%.
This led to the Millennium Compact taking away the project to support ECG's operation, which now President Mahama is seeking to see if we can get it back. Is that possible?
Yes, we are getting good. He met the U.S. ambassador, and she says that she will help us to restore that.
Quickly finish up.
Then we have the $24 million tax waiver granted to the president's brother-in-law, Dr. Kwame Nyantechi Owusu, for a Pullman Hotel, which never happened. The hotel project never happened. Then there's a $2 million failed SkyTrain project. Some people showed up from offshore. They say they have a Mauritius registered company, and then just generously gave them $2 million to come build SkyTrain for us, and we can't find them. The Auditor General says that GIF is saying they can't locate the people, but our $2 million is gone. We need that money back. Then there's the Access Citizens $38.2 million visa processing scandal at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They didn't follow the due process, and this is another matter that we have to retrieve. Then there's the Cecilia Dapa matter, which everybody is conversant with, over $1 million, over 300,000 euros found in her home. That matter has not been resolved, and it is in her own interest that we get to the bottom of this. Then there is the DRIP, $178.7 million project. We did an RTI request. The DACF responded and confirmed what we suspected, that it was single source. The project is inflated by over $102 million, and we are committed to making sure that whole arrangement is reworked. Fortunately, not all the money has been paid, just about 20%, 15 to 20%, and we think that the huge inflations that have gone on, the new government should not be saddled with. Then there's a Buankra Eland Port scandal, over $33.3 million. What Parliament approved was totally different from what they went to implement, just hand-picked a company. Then you remember the Moshosho rice scandal, on wholesome rice that had gone beyond its best before date. It was criminally rebacked in a government facility. the National Food Buffer Stock Company in Kumasi, clear collaboration with state officials. But what is troubling about this is that despite the criminality, the company was fined and they paid only 50%. We will pursue them not only on the criminal aspect, but they must pay the rest of the fine because we need money for national development. Then there's the National Service Fund, the $4.5 billion National Service scandal. The Media Foundation for West Africa and the Fourth Estate have done their presentation to us yesterday. Then there's the 2.6 billion Ghana cedis dubious and duplicative digitalization deals in the health space in our country. We asked for an audit. The NHIA assured us they will do that audit. It hasn't been done. We are going to pursue that matter. Then there's the $36 million COVID-19 Smart Workplace project. During COVID, a company received $36 million that they were going to make sure public sectors could work from home. The Auditor General discovered that they didn't do the work. And this is another Nigerian called Philip Olaya, who is controlling the communication space. He's the same guy behind the $48 million Ascent Digital scandal. And we need to get all those monies back. Then there's a $8.5 million Black Stars AFCON budget, which was not approved by Parliament. If you put just this 30 selection together, we are talking about $18.4 billion. Just the 30 scandals selected. So when people say, oh, can't you leave it? It will be a witch hunt. We cannot. Look at the sums involved. That's more than 6 times what we are begging the IMF for. Just these 30 scandals. So we really have to be concerned as a people that where would the monies come from, particularly for a new government that has said that we are going to abolish e-levy, abolish betting tax, abolish COVID levy, abolish the emissions tax. Where will we get money for the reconstruction of our country if we do not pursue these matters? Then quickly on state capture, very quickly. State capture is also, a new canker which has consumed this country. And Dr. Kennedy was right in his post-mortem article that they lost the election because of state capture and corruption. Remember the Bulgaria embassy demolition. I mean, you are conversant with the Vienna Convention. You do not, violate the inviolability of diplomatic.
I need you to go over this very quickly.
So we know about that. We've been saddled with a 5.3 million Ghana cedi compensation, according to the Seoul Enquirer. That has not been paid yet. Then you know about the Bright Champions Need Hotel saga. Then the Labadi beachfront. But yesterday there was good news. Thanks to the way Ghanaians have voted, the management of Labadi Beach Hotel felt emboldened to go to court, and they have secured an injunction against the Blay brothers and to stay off their beachfront. They now say that they can reclaim their beachfront, which was taken from them at the time Freddie Blay was chairman of the MPP. So very good news. Then there's the Akufo-Addo daughters in Sonam land grab. I did an official search with the Lands Commission. That restaurant is on the state land, and we need to really know what's going on. His niece's Lot fashion company also on the state land. Then there's a Heaven Builders land grab, the airport lands, which under very dubious circumstances were given to this company. We've been chasing this company. Their address doesn't lead us anywhere. We are concerned about that. Then the demolition that the Lomote Adote family suffered, broad daylight demolition to politically exposed persons, the Dream Citrix Company Limited. We need to go after them. Then there is the Baumias Aid land grab, prisons lands at Roman Ridge being given to Professor Pierre Edu. There's the Parks and Gardens lands in Accra, in Wa, which we have to reclaim. Then there's all of these state capture reports across the country. What Suhini reported in Parliament, happening in Tamale, Cape Coast, Ho, Kumasi, Takrady. So state capture has become a huge, huge issue. The Ghana International School land grab, we still haven't identified those who tried to take over their land at dawn. We are concerned about that. The Agric Extension land grab, which also has the National Intelligence Bureau boss and Kennedy Osenyaku and others. That is around the Gifford Road, opposite Elwak. They have just taken over that agric mechanization. They violated the LUPSA law. They haven't come to Parliament to rezone, and they are just sharing it amongst themselves, paying a paltry 160,000 cedis for prime land, which is going for over $1 million. Then you know about the looting at the AU village in cantonments, and we have the list. All of those who benefited, they paid less than 180,000 cedis, from KJ Fuad to Ibrahim Mohammed Awal, Dr. Ernest Yedu Addison, the governor of Central Bank, his 2 deputies, Joseph Boahi Edu, Dr. Janet Ampedu Fofie, Kwabena Mante Jaktenyako, and Samras Fodajete, Amasari Odro, Kenoforetas, Enterprise Insurance, Kwesi Abuaji Etua, the SIC board chair, former Chief Justice Georgina Theodora Wood, Janet Ampedu Fofie, Kwabena Mante Jekte, and all the others. And what is, very characteristic of this whole state capture is that, there's no advertisement, there's no due process, it's not open up to the general public, and so you have now many institutions in court fighting to protect their lands, including the Judicial Service of Ghana, the Prison Service, the military, and all of that. So state capture is another huge, canker that ought to be defeated, and we need to retrieve all of these assets for the country. So because of time, I've run through this very quickly, and this is the case for Oral. And look, only a few days ago, I went to Uracare to visit a constituent of mine, and then all the doctors and nurses told me that, look, we voted for you people because of Oral. If you do not retrieve what has been taken away from us, forget it. We're going to come after you. And what it will mean is that you want to come and do the same thing. That is why you are not pursuing those who have engaged in this. So this is the case for Oral.
Thank you for watching the video. What do you think? Do you think NDC is going to be able to recover all loot, or do you also think that it's just a saying and nobody after is going to be arrested? It's a political gimmick. Nothing actually happens. If there is a crisis, anything that goes wrong in any party, when the next party comes, they are in the zeal to do something just to, increase the morale of the electorate, that we're trying to do something for you. But I promise you, in my personal opinion, now, I don't think anyone will be arrested and be prosecuted in any way. I don't expect anything. Personally, it's just a game. However, your opinions might be different from mine. Whatever you think, just put your comment in the comment section. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. See ya.